Good morning, football fans. Big Al here on this early Thursday. It is September 26, 2024, and welcome to the Week 5 college football television schedule, plus all the announcers of every game this weekend. This info is courtesy of 506 Sports. Just log on to www.506sports.com. Click the college football tab on the home page, and it will take you right to all the games and all the announcers. And I apologize for being so late with this. I've had a busy Wednesday, and I'm just now getting to this at about 1:19 a.m. on Thursday morning. But we're going to run through it right now. We have one game on Thursday or later tonight, and we have two games tomorrow, and then your full slate of games on Saturday. So let's jump into the schedule. We'll start with tonight's game at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. You have Army at Temple with Matt Berry and Dan Mullen. And then tomorrow, you'll have two more games on ESPN at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Is Virginia Tech at number 7 Miami with Anish Shroff and Andre Ware. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Fox, it's Washington at Rutgers with Tim Brando and Devin Gardner. Okay, now we're going to move to the Saturday portion of the schedule. Starting in the early afternoon, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games getting underway at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. ABC will have Kentucky at number 6 Ole Miss with Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy. On Fox's Big Noon Saturday, it's Minnesota at number 12 Michigan with Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. On ESPN, you've got number 20 Oklahoma State at number 23 Kansas State with Bob Wischusen and Louis Riddick. On ESPN2 is Navy at UAB, Roy Philpott and Sam Acho. On FS1, it's number 22 BYU at Baylor, Alex Faust and Robert Smith. On ESPNU, South Florida at Tulane, Matt Schumacher and Dustin Fox. On the CW, it's Northern Illinois at NC State with Tom Brenneman and Max Brown. On BTN is Maryland at Indiana, Jeff Levering and Jake Butt. On the ACC network, it's Western Kentucky at Boston College, George Sedano and Orlando Franklin. Streaming on ESPN Plus and on ACC Network Extra is Holy Cross at Syracuse, Noah Reid and Craig Halbert. On CBS Sports Network, it's Buffalo at Connecticut. There is no broadcast team announced. And streaming exclusively on Peacock at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific is Nebraska at Purdue, Jack Collinsworth and Michael Robinson. Then at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, streaming on ESPN Plus is Ball State at James Madison. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific on ESPN Plus, Texas State at Sam Houston. There are no broadcast teams announced for those two games. On to the late afternoon schedule, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. On ABC, it's number 21 Oklahoma at Auburn, Joe Tessitore and Jordan Rogers. On the Home Depot Big Ten on CBS is Wisconsin at number 13 USC. Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson. On Fox is Colorado at UCF. Jason Benetti and Brock Huard. On ESPN, you've got Arkansas and number 24 Texas A&M playing at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, with Dave Pasch and Dusty Dvorak. On FS1 is Fresno State at UNLV. Chris Folsters and Charles Arbuckle. On ESPNU, Georgia Southern at Georgia State. Clay Matvick and Steve Adazio. On the ACC Network, Louisiana at Wake Forest. Chris Cotter and Rocky Boyman. On CBS Sports Network is San Diego State at Central Michigan. Chris Lewis and Taylor McCartway. Streaming exclusively on Peacock at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific is number 15 Louisville at number 16 Notre Dame. Paul Burmeister and Jason Garrett. The remaining games at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific are all streaming on ESPN+. There are 6 of them. You've got TCU at Kansas with Lowell Galindo and Fozzie Whitaker. Akron at Ohio with Michael Reggie and Marcus Ray. Eastern Michigan at Kent State with Sean Kenny and Ryan Kavanaugh. Massachusetts at Miami of Ohio with Doug Sherman and Forrest Connolly. The remaining 2 games have no broadcast teams announced for either one. And those games are Liberty at Appalachian State and Western Michigan at Marshall. At 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on ESPN2 is North Carolina at Duke. Mike Monaco and Kirk Morrison. And streaming on ESPN Plus at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific is UTSA at East Carolina. Richard Cross and Reggie Walker. At 4:15 p.m. Eastern, 1:15 p.m. Pacific on the SEC Network, Mississippi State at number 1 Texas. Tom Hart and Cole Kubelic. Streaming on ESPN Plus at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific is Old Dominion at Bowling Green. Jason Ross Jr. and Tioka Jackson. And then you'll have 3 additional games on ESPN Plus at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Louisiana Tech at Florida International and UT Martin at Kennesaw State have no broadcast teams announced for those 2 games. The 3rd game is Wagner at Florida Atlantic with Ryan Urquhart, Urquhart, and Patrick Murray. On to the evening portion of the schedule. At 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, you'll have 5 games. ESPN has Stanford at number 17 Clemson with Mark Jones and Roddy Jones. Then on FS1, it's number 18 Iowa State at Houston with Eric Collins and Spencer Tillman. The remaining 3 games at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific will stream on ESPN+. You've got Charlotte at Rice with Ted Emmerich and Charlie Strong. Tulsa at North Texas with James Westling and Legard Duzable. And Louisiana Monroe at Troy, which has no broadcast team announced for that game. Then you have 4 more games at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. On ABC's Saturday Night Football, perhaps the game of the week between number 2 Georgia and number 4 Alabama, with Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. On Big Ten Saturday night on NBC, number 19 Illinois at number 9 Penn State, with Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge. On ESPNU is Middle Tennessee at Memphis, Courtney Lyle and Renee Eagle-Gila. And streaming exclusively on Peacock at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific is number 3 Ohio State at Michigan State, Andrew Siciliano and Colt McCoy. 15 minutes later at 7:45 p.m. Eastern, 4:45 p.m. Pacific on the SEC Network, South Alabama at number 14 LSU, Dave Neal and Aaron Murray. And then you'll have 4 more games at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. On ESPN2, Cincinnati at Texas Tech, Brian Custer and Rod Gilmore. On the ACC Network is Florida State at SMU, Wes Durham and Tom Luginbill. On CBS Sports Network, Air Force at Wyoming, Rich Waltz and Robert Turbin. And streaming exclusively on ESPN Plus, New Mexico at New Mexico State. And there is no broadcast team announced for that game. Later that night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on FS1, you've got Washington State at number 25 Boise State, Dan Hellie and Petros Papadakis. After that at 10:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Pacific on ESPN, you've got Arizona at number 10 Utah, Dave Fleming and Brock Osweiler. And the final game of the night is at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific on Fox. Number 8 Oregon at UCLA, Connor Onion and Mark Helfrich. And that is a look at the Week 5 college football television schedule and all the announcers for every game this weekend. Join me later today as we'll go through my Week 4 NFL power, or not my power rankings, but my Week 4 NFL picks, both straight up and against the spread. And we'll also have the injury report going into tonight's Cowboys-Giants game. So join me for that. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the pigskin. Peace out.